2, 1. What's happening, YouTube? You're in the building. Lamont, Larry, T Streams, we are all back live. We've got some great stories to talk to you about. But before we get into it, my opening salvo is I hope everyone is being very safe out there considering what's going on with COVID-19. It's definitely nothing to play with. And to start this out, I want to send my heartfelt condolences to my man T Streams, who is dealing with some family issues going through COVID-19. T Streams, how you getting through?
You know what, man? Hey, it's a process. The only, one of the difficult parts about it really is not being able to console your peoples. You can't really visit and do anything like that. So it's weird. My aunt, her husband died yesterday, and didn't nobody even know that he was even ill. Now we were not around, and so he was actually off on work and had a no call, no show. And after several attempts to contact him, sort of went through. He was considered one of those essential workers, a driver, transporter.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty tough. And then those that's closer to my age, hey, what can you really say, man? You just you take that punch to the chin, and you try to give comforting words, and then you just try to just keep on pushing. That's really all you can do.
Well, we feel for you, brother, and keep your head up, man. We just appreciate you being here with us to try to entertain people, take their minds off what's going on. Yeah. And the man to really take your mind off is that guy that's got on that mustard shirt, drinking something in a cup, named Larry. What the hell is that cup, Larry?
Man, let me just go ahead and let me try and lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah. And
tell you guys that O.J. Simpson thinks Carol Baskin killed her second husband during Tiger King.
You know what I got to say to O.J.? I think O.J. killed her second husband during Tiger King. They hired his ass. Hell, O.J. might have been the one that was trying to put the hit on Carol himself, since he has a predilection for killing white women. Could have been O.J.
If anybody know, O.J. probably know.
O.J. probably know. Yeah.
People bringing the heat.
Hey, man, I told you I got jokes. When I was young, I was fat, and so people would pick on me. If you ain't come up with no jokes, you just sit there and cry like a fat kid. No, I wasn't having that but for a day. So I learned how to joke about people's mama's hairdo, people's mama's yellow teeth, people's mama's sneaky behind. I got a joke for everything. Don't test me.
You gotta get it. You can't talk about their mama, man.
Man, I would tell them about their mom. I got in so many fights over your mama's so fat jokes.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah. I think we all
ready to put hands on you.
I think we all
on to the show, gentlemen. First news issue. Grammy-winning Bill Withers, God rest his soul, died at the age of 81 due to heart complications. For those of you who don't know Bill Withers, this man performed Lean On Me. He is the Lean On Me guy. That was his song. He also did Ain't No Sunshine When She's Gone. I love that song because it was part of this game called Dante's Inferno. He also did Just the Two of Us, and he won Grammys for those three. Gentlemen, I'll start with you, Taylor. Give me your fondest memory of Bill and any of those songs and how they touched you.
Well, you know what? Why, I like him, period. My dad used to listen to him all the time. And while a lot of people sort of lean towards the Lean On Me song throughout its revisions and stuff like that. But he actually has a pretty nice catalog. I'm actually glad that that he lived to the ripe age that he did. When somebody go at that age, it's not as sad as it could be. These guys, they live long, long, full lives and stuff like that. And so those things are generally expected. I look forward to a lot of his songs actually being recycled now that he's gone. And just the two of us was probably one of my more favorites than Lean On Me. Nice little mellow beat. I'm a smooth jazz fan.
Okay.
And you frequently can catch that song on the smooth jazz section on the radio station, and a couple of jazz musicians have redone it and stuff like that. So that would probably be my choice.
Larry, what are your thoughts on this icon, rock and roll Hall of Famer dying? Which one of his songs touched you the most?
Man, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I didn't know. I knew his music. I didn't really know him that much. So I mean, "Lean on Me" is a classic song, and just the two of us is that's probably my favorite. I didn't even realize, who sung that song, or who wrote, "Lean on Me." I didn't realize it. I just didn't know. But like T Stream says, it's good. I mean, not to say that I don't want anybody to have gone prematurely, but I'm glad that he went at a ripe old age, so that he had the time to live a full life and share his gifts with the world. And it's sort of a shame to see some of these old folks going out like this. And just on a sort of the same note, but a little bit of a separate note, I saw a story the other day about a woman who had contracted the coronavirus, and she she went into the hospital, and I guess they told her, "You need to be on a ventilator." And she turned it down and said no. She said, "I'm 90 years old. I've lived a full life. You give that ventilator to some of these young people who really need it." And so they had another patient that needed it that was younger. They put that other person on a ventilator, and she passed away like a day later.
Damn.
And I mean, it's sad. I mean, that level of sacrifice is just it's just something else. But
yeah, they bugging in them comment section. My man talking about T-Screen sounding like Ryan from Black Ink Crew. Is he the one that be knocking back all the women?
Yeah, man. Can I let me comment on that, man?
Let me put that one up there. Now,
my wife watches it all the time, and so we went to Chicago back in February for my birthday, and we actually stopped by Black Ink. And I got mad respect for these brothers. They over there, they doing their own thing and stuff like that. But man, tell me, like, why when we go up in there, and I'm sort of looking around while my wife, she's sort of looking at merchandiser, and we had a few friends, and my guys over there, they on the low while I got my back turned trying to holler at my wife, man.
What?
Yeah. And so when I turn around and and it's because when we up in there, they like, "Oh, we got Detroit up in the house," because it was quite a few of us up in there. And and I didn't actually know until it was time to go. My wife was like, "Come on, let's go. And I'm like, "Huh? What's that?" And so she finally told me on the way out. And of course, that that little Negro mentality sort of kicked in. And I'm like, man, hey man, these guys, I used to have mad respect for them. I don't think I look like Ryan. I don't think I sound like Ryan. I don't have enough hair to even to even resemble Ryan. But yeah, I used to have mad love for them boys until they try to pull that little that we on TV popular stuff. We can do what we want to, but that's really not the case. We can make some new subplots on your show, homeboy.
Oh man.
Yeah, man. People forget. They get a little fame, a little money, and forget their heads can get busted open just like everybody else.
Look, man, you got the right one on this YouTube. Larry be ready to go to fight, man. I'm trying to tell you, you got to watch how you call people out, because Larry will go to bat for you, bro. Like,
I'm just saying, people forget.
Larry gassed up the whip, and he'll be down there in 2 shakes to a thumb. You got to watch yourself, brother. But I ain't
People
with
forget.
be ragging on somebody's wife.
Yeah.
Like right behind your back in the store. They know you came in with.
Yeah.
What the hell, man?
Oh, I see. That's one thing. Like for me, and this is just maybe it's just me, right? I mean, I think you shouldn't even do that with a girlfriend so much, but it's different with a girlfriend. When it's a dude's wife, nah, you need to back all the way up off that shit.
Well,
at this point, I look at it like this. This is not just some random chick that I'm dating. I made an oath to God to protect this woman, which means, you know, when you start stepping to her, you're coming between me and my God, which means I have to. I'm obligated at this point because I swore an oath.
Yeah.
I'm
really not with nobody really playing anybody, not just myself, but anytime you try to play somebody simple, you know what I'm saying, it definitely strikes a nerves. And I tell you, man, we was ready to get crazy, right up there in mag, you know. I don't know, man. It was wild, but yeah, so I don't need, you know, the little merchandise that I bought, you know, because I call myself going in, trying to support and stuff. I threw all that stuff on the ground, threw it away.
See, man, and when we talk about trying to support our own people or doing things for our own people, and we have these hood stereotypes, that's why. What Taylor went through is why we have those stereotypes when it comes to doing Black business. Now, everybody don't do that.
Yeah,
right. Wrong, but the loudest dog always gets seen first. So when these bad stereotypes happen, it paints a bad blanket over all Black business that we all trying to nigger rig stuff, or we Jack Levin, or we stand under the shade tree, stuff like that. When everybody's not operating like that. And T-Stream, I'm sorry you went through that, but
no, I'm good.
I know you got your wife out there. You handled your business, bro.
Yeah, we good.
Yeah,
man. You should have started a rumor about that dude or something. You should have been like, I went to the store and saw him smoking a pipe in the back. That shit was crazy.
Hey, Larry, I'm surprised you kept it that tame. He could have lied and say he saw him jacking off in the store or something.
Well, I was gonna say something else, but I didn't want people to think I was homophobic, so I went with the pipe.
Okay, yeah. I got it. Yeah, man. Larry, I got to keep an eye on you, bro. Boy, moving right along, ladies and gentlemen. God rest his soul, Bill Weathers. You will be missed. You was a credit to the music community, to the African American community, to the world community. Your family wishes you well. You did a lot for the community. God be with you, brother. Now, here we go with one of the number one people calling COVID-19 and the things that surround it a conspiracy. Our girl Cardi B was rushed to the ER, even though the hospitals are telling you we don't want you there unless it's something of detriment because of COVID-19. She was rushed to the ER because severe stomach pains. Larry, you go first on this one. What you think? What happened?
I think maybe she just ran out of good food, and so she maybe had bubble guts. You know, she's been rich for a few minutes now, so she forgot what it was like to have to eat that ramen, and had to eat that ramen and some Wonder Bread or something, and so she had to go back and start digging out what was non-perishable in her cabinets, and she ended up with some bubble guts. That's all that was, I think.
What you mean? You said she can't handle that prison food, huh?
She can't, not anymore. Not anymore. She got too used to that good stuff, you know. She's been putting that Irish butter on French bread.
T-Stream, what you think? Do you think case of the little Kim from the 1990s?
Yeah,
damn. Damn. What? Man. Settle down. Talking about me getting you in trouble. Settle down, homie. Settle down.
Man. These people know we come with fire on this show.
Yeah, man. They stayed on fire now. Yeah. ain't no telling. I was just taking a peek at it on the computer. Say she feeling a lot better now. But yeah, she may have she this quarantine she may have had to stay home and do some cooking herself or something.
Damn.
ain't no telling. I don't know.
I ain't no hate or nothing, man, but there's only one person whose cooking could be that bad that the dog won't eat it. And I'm going to say it's somebody's mother on this panel, and I won't say their name. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say. And,
it's not mine.
That person might be wearing a white shirt.
Oh,
you about to get it,
man.
You about to
man.
I'm not standing next to you. I don't know when them bullets are.
If Lamont served the business by his OG,
man, I have a dog named Donatello. I got to name the dog, and I named him after the Ninja Turtles because Donatello was the only one I could spell. I wanted it to be Raphael, but damn it, I couldn't spell Raphael. But I knew how to spell Donatello. And he was a chihuahua. I kid you guys not. My mama would cook, put food in the plate for him. He would sit there and look at it and then come to the room to me to see what I done snuck in the house to eat to save me from having dinner.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. It's bad when your Mexican chihuahua won't eat that cooking.
Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So I know when I moved out, he was very, very sad. Poor fella.
Man.
Now, for me, Cardi B, the only beef I got with her is after you blast everybody staying home to try to reduce coronavirus, after you talk the conspiracy talk, you're going to show up at the ER. Now, hey, everybody need to get that medical service. But don't be putting or denouncing the plight that other people are going through as if it ain't nothing. And then the moment you get sick, you run right up in the ER.
Yeah, that fear being quick.
Yeah. Just because your plight was different from Corona, don't mean that them people ain't going through the same similar plight. So,
I'm surprised she even went to the ER.
What'd you say?
I'm surprised she even went to the ER. You know, so many of these wealthy folks and entertainers and stuff, a lot of them have concierge doctors now. So I'm just surprised she even had to go to the ER.
The fact that she went to the ER tells me it was a little bit more severe than the concierge doctor could handle. Probably need a CT scan.
Yeah, the article says she had been wrestling with it for about 4 days before she decided to go. So no, it ain't no telling. But I will say this, you know, I don't know if God just has a strange sense of humor, but one of the things I have noticed is that this illness does have a way of coming back and slapping those who mock it. We high profile people as well as folks right here in the hood, so
I'm wondering with some of the high profile people, I'm wondering if part of it is because they're around so many other people. There's so many people in their universe. Like, I feel like with most of us, we probably don't really engage with a whole lot of people every day. We probably have, our immediate family. And other than that, most of us, maybe you go to work and you talk to one or two people or something, but I don't think most of us deal with a whole lot of people. I think some of these entertainers, because they have so many people around them, they have their publicists and their agents, and they have their if they're on the set of a movie studio, a set of a movie or something, they may have all the PAs and the producers and directors and lighting. But they have all these people that they're around. And I wonder if some of them, just because they have so many people in their universe, ended up just getting sick because of the exposure. Whereas most of us, we just have 1 or 2, 3 people in our lives,
Yeah, and the incubation period, when you consider to be the most contagious, is really terrible, because I was reading an article and it was saying, like, once you actually get to the point where you're seeing the symptoms, the contagion level actually drops. It's the time. It's the time before then. Who's you around it? And so one of the odd things about it is there's a large percentage of asymptomatic people. And so when you in the spotlight like that, and you constantly interacting with hundreds of people every single day, yeah, your risk factor is definitely going to go up. But I can guarantee that right around, if she say she waited 4 days, right around that third, fourth day, she knew it wasn't no regular menstrual stomach cramps and whatever, and so that fear started kicking in.
Right.
Yeah. But she's had a number of other health issues, because she's had all those butt implants and stuff, and she's had issues where she's had like, I don't know if you've seen some of the photos of her after she's flown around to different places, where her feet and her ankles and stuff are so swollen up that she can't even walk. I mean, they look like, her feet and ankles look like tree trunks. They were so big. I mean, she's had some real health issues going on already. So,
boy, now Larry about to get somebody riding by his top talking about a woman got cankles. Keep it up. keep it up. Keep it up. You talking about it's all me. You out here talking about that girl. You can't tell where her knee separate from her ankle. Keep it up.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
But I tend to like her because she's like she has this unreal like griminess about her, even in the spotlight. So
I like her too. She's entertaining.
I do hope she's okay, but she need to chill out if she mocking it.
Yeah. I with that too. I like that never back down mentality she has. It's like it's kind of like Tupac's me against the world. Yeah. And she still keeps fighting. I've admired that about her too. And she's made some hit bangers that was like women classics to empower women. And some of those songs were just general hit bangers. So I'm with her, and I'm hoping she's doing well. But now, while we're on COVID-19, let's get the latest on COVID-19 out for the people that may not be paying attention to what's going on, because there are a lot of nut cases out there. Now, yesterday on the show, I reported about the donkey of the day was the governor from Georgia talking about he didn't know until 24 hours ago that people who are asymptomatic can spread the coronavirus. When I tell y'all I trashed him, y'all miss me. I drug him under 3 buses because, like, bruh, you need to resign. You need to quit your job. But the issues of today, fellas, I can't make this stuff up. This is taking a conspiracy theory just way too far. A train engineer driving a train, not a crane, a train, not a car, a train, not a bicycle, a train.
Choo-choo.
Yeah, choo-choo, with smoke and all that. This man derailed his train trying to hit the USS Mercy, which is now acting as a floating hospital. And his reasoning for derailing the train was because, in his mind, he believes that the COVID-19 is a vast conspiracy for a government takeover. And this was his time to shine to combat a government takeover. T-Streams, I give it to you first, because I already know what Larry's going to say.
Well, man, you know what? You saw what I posted yesterday, man. I couldn't take it. I couldn't really.
I saw it. I sent you condolences too, man. I was like, yo.
And it's the conspiracy theories. All this, I think, is doing way more harm. It's too many. It's too many fragile minds out there for my liking, man. And everyone is a. This guy just so happened to take it to the extreme, I don't even know what to say about this clown here. Hopefully they got him locked up and giving him some type of good psyche valve. But look here, folks, if I can share one good word with you, is, conspiracy theories, bogus hypotheses, these heavy non-rooted in fact opinions and stuff like that is doing more harm to the masses than it is good. I mean, you look at Facebook or Twitter or whatever, whatever social media outlet you on. I guarantee you that you can find at least 5 to 10 different theories on anything that's going on. I looked at today. You got 5G towers is the reason coronavirus is here, and all this other kind of stuff like that. Then it's it's not only us, animals giving it to us, and all this other kind of stuff. And I'm like, man, this is why we are in the situation that we're in now. There's too many self-proclaimed professionals out here that's putting this mass stuff out, and then it's confusing those who are not, those who doesn't have the will to actually fact check things like that. And then you're trying to remedy or make fixes for each of these opinions that come your way. Now, in the case of this fool here, he's probably just the first of many that's probably going to act out, because you already have those who think that is some type of government thing. I just saw a video my son showed me, some guy playing Alexa. Alexa, is COVID-19, is the government responsible for COVID-19? And she, yes, the government is excessive for this and that and this, and goes off on this whole rant. And so he asked me if I believe it. And I'm like, no. Matter of fact, I don't even want to hear no more of it. No, I don't believe it. But when we've seen how far conspiracy theories can go, how radical they can get.
Mm-hmm.
And I would not be surprised if this is the first of many that will play out in the next couple of weeks. I'm almost guaranteed. I can see it. It's too many fragile minds out there that's looking to blame something.
Mm-hmm. Larry, speak on it, brother. Speak on it.
Now, I know this may sound a little controversial and all, but I believe that as much. I mean, I truly believe in freedom of speech, and people should have the freedom to say what they want to say. However, we all know already you do not have the right to go into a crowded movie theater and scream fire when there's not a fire. This has already been litigated to say that this is an actual crime. You can't do that. You will cause mass pandemonium, and you will cause people to get injured and possibly killed doing that. When we are in a state of emergency about a pandemic, and you are intentionally spreading falsities about the very essence of the pandemic, that should also be considered the exact same as screaming fire in a crowded theater. And people like that should be prosecuted, because what they're doing is making it much more difficult on the people that are disseminating truthful information and proper information, because now you have all these people out there that are running around thinking this is a vast government conspiracy. I'm not going to stay at home. I'm going to go out and do whatever else I want to do. And if they come for me, I'm going to shoot them up or whatever else. You have a lot of lunatics out there that listen to this stuff. And when you're in a state of emergency and you're spreading false information, that to me should be the same as you going and screaming fire in a crowded theater. It's dangerous, and it's irresponsible, and it's unpatriotic. And I'm not one that's quick to say we should limit people's rights to say what they want to say. I'm not quick to say that people should have their freedom of speech limited, but this should not fall under the First Amendment. You don't have the right to scream fire in a crowded theater. You should not have the right to tell fake stories and give fake information about this pandemic. It's dangerous.
And I'm a further highlight what you're saying about ignorance and stupidity around COVID-19. For sure, if you're the governor of a state like Tennessee, Georgia, or Florida, and you didn't believe in this stuff, and now all of a sudden you want to believe in it, or like the one in Tennessee said, for him, it was more important for people to have personal liberties because he feels deeply about fucking personal liberties. Bruh, all of them need to have their jobs yanked because you and your personal beliefs are hindering the lives of millions. Now, I know that some of them should have better gumption than to believe these people and following what they say. But when you put these orders in place, you need to enforce these orders because when people go out here doing what this fool did on the train and what other people are doing by getting on buses in Detroit, coughing, getting people sick, then the bus driver died 2 weeks later, you're hurting other people. You're affecting other families because you don't believe in what's going on. And what your belief system is doing is harming someone else. At that point in time, it's not about personal liberty. It's about public safety.
Right. And it's a challenging time too because people don't trust our government for one. Government people haven't trusted government for a couple of decades now. I think after the way that Vietnam went down, people stopped trusting our government the way we used to, and it's just gotten worse.
Larry, in the South, they stopped trusting the government the minute they told them, we're going to take your rights to have slavery because that was their cash cow. That's when we start hearing all this, give me liberty, give me death. I don't like my government. And they just kept passing it down generation through generation. It got remixed with the Vietnam War and other stuff, but I digress.
Right.
Let me toss this in here. So do you think like places like here in Detroit? Okay, I know you guys seeing us all over the news now. These guys, you got young men that's dying from the virus, and then the whole goon squad decides to go out and party and turn it up a little bit, pour out a little liquor, and shut blocks down. And the masses, they're out at parks, shooting basketball, throwing barbecues and stuff like that. So I'm sure we're not the only place that this happening to, but do you think that it would be wise for National Guard systems to be put in place in various locations? Some of them already got it going on, and but do you think that would help some of that?
I think it would help if they would enforce the rules fairly across the board, because what I'm seeing here, and everything is divided by politics, race, and gender. I mean, that's just where we're at in this country right now. Not saying it wasn't like this before.
Don't forget economics. Economics
too, especially economics. I mean, that's probably the number one out of everything I said. Economics is the number one. And right now, what I'm seeing in my own county, the people that they're not breaking the law per se, but the people that aren't adhering to stay shut in are these kind of middle class to upper class business owners sneaking people in the back door. That's who's not adhering to the rules where I live at. Matter of fact, they came up with a list of the top 100 counties in the United States where people are not adhering to the shut-in order. Guess who was number 4 on the list? Guilford County, where Greensboro, North Carolina is located. So when y'all thought I was making this stuff up about people not adhering to the rules, I'm being dead serious. A lot of these good old boys where I live at don't want to shut their businesses down. They really believe it's a vast government conspiracy, even though their boy is running the country. If you call in the National Guard, they need to really drop the hammer down fairly and equally to anybody who's not adhering. And Larry's got a good story for y'all about a stripper who was quarantined by the police. Now let him get to that when it's his turn.
Well, there was a stripper. I guess she was, she's like a lot of us. She was in quarantine, and apparently she was doing a live show, and I think it looked like it was an Instagram live show or something. But she was up there. I mean, she was going full bird with it. I mean, she had fireworks shooting flares outside of her woohoo, and she was going with it.
Whoa, I got so many questions. Let me stop you there. I got questions about that. Shooting fire out her woohoo. What she had to burn? She was burning.
She had.
What the fuck? What kind of stripper is this that's got an open STD that's shooting fire out of her clit? What, bro?
She had one of those. She had like a pyrotechnic in her vagina, and it was shooting sparklers out of there. And
Larry,
it was going in.
Wait a minute, Larry. I got so many questions. How does that work? How do you twerk with some sparklers coming out your vagina? Larry, I got so many questions. I'm lost.
I would pull the video up for you, but I don't want to get your channel in trouble.
Yeah, I don't want no trouble. I don't want no trouble.
But the thing about it was, I guess that people were upset was when she was doing the video. I guess she was on the bed doing this. Somebody was filming it, but then like she moved and sort of flipped over, and when she panned over, you could see it looked like it was maybe like her mom, because it looked like a really older woman. It was like her mom or somebody was holding a real small baby. Would look like she was bottle feeding it, a real small baby. And then there was like another kid that was probably 2-3 years old over there. It almost looked like there was 3 kids in the mix, but I could definitely see 2. So she was in there doing all this really graphic sexual stuff with these kids in the room. And I guess people saw this and they called the police. I don't know if the police came and got her or what, but it was definitely some craziness happening there.
Well, I guess we know why she got all them kids.
That's that thought stuff, man.
Bruh.
Yeah.
I'll tell you.
Sorry, y'all. Look, call me old-fashioned. To each their own, and there's somebody for everybody. But a woman who can actually twirl pyrotechnics like they use in the WWE out her vagina, I'm staying away from it. I'm staying away from it. You want to talk about a vagina with gun smoke? I'm staying away from it.
Man.
Yeah. Well, question, man. What do you guys think about the president over there in Philippines? The Filipino president. You heard what he did?
What's going on with him?
What he do?
All right. Yesterday. At first, I thought that this was I didn't know it was real until I actually started reading the articles. He ordered police to shoot and with the intent to kill anybody that was violating the shutdown order in his country.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I guarantee you ain't nobody going outside. I'm not saying it's right. I don't support that, but I guarantee you ain't nobody leaving their house.
So
wow, I hope they have.
Yeah,
I hope they have the means set up in the way that people can get out if they need to, if they're heading to the doctor or if they need food or any. Right. I'm hoping that. Yeah, because I would really hate to think that someone's just simply out of food and they're out there trying to get some baby formula or some rice or something, and they end up getting shot as a consequence. I would hate for that to be.
Rat-a-tat.
I think it's for actually violating the social distance when it comes to crowd gathering and stuff like that. I have been looking at that, and he's all over the place now. This was actually yesterday when it came out. And I didn't get a chance to actually see how bad the Philippines were actually affected for him to take that kind of measures. But then when you look at them being a third world country, they're probably limited on resources, and something like this could actually, undermine their whole setup when you actually look and see what it's doing to us. So it do make you wonder what caused him to go through those, what caused him to go to that extreme. Yeah, that's take a look at
man.
I'm gonna have to look into that, man, because I don't. How can I put this? If you're trying to keep people from dying, going and shooting up a mass gathering is not helping keeping people from dying.
That's that Saddam Hussein stuff.
Yeah, I can understand throwing them in jail.
Yeah.
Locking them up. But just straight drive-by, shoot a mass gathering. That sounds like some old dictator, semi-genocide, and you using this professional excuse as your means to exercise your professional excuse to shoot people. If you guys
that's what he is. He's a dictator. So that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I'm not with
this is someone that your president. This is someone your president admires.
He admires all dictators, man. And stop calling him my president. I don't want him. Don't give him to me, man. You know I don't rock this dude, man. I can't even get to a press conference with him. He'd be up there saying ad homs and repeating questions. How's somebody going to ask you the question? You repeat the question back as if that's your answer.
Yeah. At least to answer the question. You can ask it to them again. If you want to repeat it back to them so they can answer it too, that's fine. At least to answer the question.
Yeah, man, you just gotta help out the American people. But having said that, do you think that this is enough? Is this the way he's handled this pandemic has been horrible? Do you fellas think this is enough to actually get him and his acolytes out of the White House and out of the Senate? And maybe we can get back some kind of legitimate control of a functioning U.S. government.
Go ahead. I think what's going to get him out is the fact that our unemployment rate, just in the matter of weeks, has gone from what was one of the lowest unemployment rates in history to pre-Obama rates. I mean, if people don't recall, President Obama took on an economy that was completely trashed and in the toilet and had unemployment rates that were sky high, and he knocked those rates down to record lows. And, you know, people try and say, oh, Trump brought us a record low, unemployment rates. What President Obama did was took unemployment rates that were like 20%, 18%, 17%. He dropped them down to like 7% and 6%. And then Trump dropped them like another 1%. So yeah, technically it was a record because he dropped it a little bit lower, but Obama did all the hard work. But with just the last couple of weeks, now you're talking about bringing those levels back up to pre-Obama days. And it doesn't look like it's going to get any better. We're starting to see more and more companies that are having to furlough their employees because it doesn't look like they're going to be getting back to work anytime soon. And so, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, when the economy's in the tanker, you know, when it's in the trash, it just makes it that much more difficult for a sitting president to win. And I just think that right now, I think when you have someone like Biden that can say, hey, look, I was in the Obama administration. I was in the room when it happened. You know, I was there and I was part of the conversation and the policies to bring down unemployment when it was high like this before. I have the experience to do it again. And I think a lot of people I think it's going to resonate with a lot of people, and they're going to say, yeah, let's go ahead and bring this dude in. You know, it was fun with the businessman experiment. It didn't work out. And now let's bring in some professional politicians to get the job done.
T-Stream.
All right. So I'm going to take the stand that it could potentially be a double-edged sword. Okay. Because what I'm seeing here is that despite all the stuff that's going on and what we think about it, you know, his followers, man, it's almost cult-like. They actually think that he's handling this thing well. I'm not sure what his ratings are right now, but just when I checked them last time, not even a week or two ago, it was up to 40. It was up to 49. You know, it was up to 49%, and that's extremely high in the middle of a global, crisis. So I tend to think that this is how they're going to flip it. Okay, I believe that because see, right now, all opponents is out of sight, out of mind. You may hear something every now and then, but everything is drowned out from all the primaries and all that stuff. Everything is drowned out due to the ongoing pandemic. Okay, so right now that gives him the entire stage and nobody else. Okay, and so I think what's going to happen is they're going to flip this around. Now, we know that there's going to be some, something that's going to change with this whole thing, and things are going to get better. It's the law of averages. Is naturally going to happen. Okay, and when that does, he's going to take his credit or a credit for doing such, and then they're going to do, let us fix what we've started. Let us rebuild what was taken away. And I think that message is going to rally the boom booms and bring them, and it's going to, I think it's going to be difficult. And the one reason it's going to be difficult is because right now, any potential opponent, whether it's Joe Biden or or anybody else, their showtime right now is pretty much null and out the way. So he has the entire national platform overshadowing everybody. And I think that if we're not careful, and this thing isn't totally eradicated, so you got to look at the potential outcomes like this. Could this potentially drag on and they start dealing with laws to change voting days and stuff like that? Or if there's still a lingering perception of this still going on, will our voters turn out? And so it could potentially be a double-edged sword. And I think that double edge is probably in his favor. Now, don't get me wrong. I am not a Trump supporter. I think dude is a dick. I think he has no clue what he's doing. And I think that he is a bad choice for president. But since he's in there, the current events and how things played out, right? I mean, the storm couldn't have merged at a perfect time, right here in the middle of an election. Okay. And I think that and all of this gives him the favor over anybody else. The longer you can keep anybody else out of limelight. So let's say this stuff clears out, and here we go. We get back to July or August, and everything can start getting back to normal. Okay. Then we have just a few short months for somebody to build their name back up and try to pick up the pieces where things left off a month or so ago. And so it's a double-edged sword, man. It could go either way. But I think that if we are not careful, then I think that the tact side is probably in his favor. And Lord knows, I wish I could see it differently, but I'm thinking that would be the way that they would see it.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you one of the things that worries me the most is that right around the time that we have our elections in early November is right around when we start getting right into the thick of flu season. And I would really hate to think that something like this creeps back up, because once it's out there, it's out there. I mean, the best you can do is try and knock it down so it doesn't spread widely. But my concern is if something like this creeps back up around election time and the administration tries to squash it and doesn't say anything because they know that if there's another pandemic, if there's another outbreak of this, it's going to destroy his presidential, efforts. And people are really going to feel like this, we can't go through this again. We need new leadership. And so my fear is that if something starts to creep up around election time again, that they're going to try and squash it. They're going to try and suppress it until after the election. But by then we might be back into the same thing that we're in now, where it starts to spread really quickly. Hospitals start to get overwhelmed again, masses of people getting sick and dying. And so, yeah, that concerns me, that, just as much as all the other stuff.
That there is a concerted effort going on behind closed doors that we're not privileged to see.
Yeah, you can hear that.
Russia is supposed to be a country that the United States traditionally hates. Every Republican I know up until now claimed they hated Russia because Putin was a dictator until Obama got in office, and then he made Obama look like he was weak, whatever. Did you guys know that they still don't report the coronavirus and its numbers coming out of Russia? And did you guys know that just this past Wednesday, Trump and Putin worked out some kind of deal on the phone where Russia sent medical supplies to help America via an airplane that landed at Camp Johnson this week?
I saw that.
So I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I want you to keep that in the back of the mind when I go to why I think Trump is going to get reelected. First of all, God bless Joe Biden, but Joe Biden doesn't inspire people as much as Trump incites hate, discourse, and conspiracy.
Yeah,
Joe Biden.
I mean, that is a pretty. I mean, that's a good observation. Is that you have one person on one side that you need someone. When you have someone that incites people, you need someone on the other side that inspires people. And I'm not going to say that Joe Biden is an inspiration to people. Joe Biden is what people were looking at and saying, he doesn't inspire me, but I think he could beat him. And we need someone that could beat him, but he's not inspiring. I think when you look at someone like Bernie Sanders inspires people.
He does.
You know?
He does.
And some people don't like him, but Bernie Sanders inspires people to get out there and be participants in the process, to actually want to vote, to learn about the issues. Yeah.
Feel the burn. And to further highlight what I'm saying here is, we know beyond a shadow of a doubt, it's not a conspiracy, it's not conjecture, it is fact. Russia meddled in our elections. That is fact.
And they're doing it again. They're already in the process of doing it again.
And why in the world would Russia be sending us anything to help when they're actively manipulating oil prices to force America's economic power to fall down? I want y'all to think about that. And now we don't know how long we're going to be dealing with this epidemic, because Dr. Fauci is saying it could come back again in the fall. And we don't, the economy, I can tell you guys right now, is not going to be clicking on all cylinders by August. It's just not. We might be starting to recover by August, but we're not going to be completely clicking on all cylinders because we're going backwards so far. And when we have that, Nancy Pelosi has already come out and said, we need to be thinking about a mail-in election right now.
Right.
Right.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing about the economy and Russia trying to, I know that Russia and the Middle Eastern countries have been, Saudi Arabia, they've been driving down oil prices, and they've been pumping out all kinds of production. And part of me thinks, like, I get why they're trying to do it. They're trying to hurt America. They're trying to hurt our futures markets and the oil market. The thing is that America, our economy is so much more diversified than either one of those countries. Russia's economy is an oil economy. I mean, eventually they may hurt us some, but they will hurt themselves in the long run if they continue this. It's the same way with Saudi Arabia. If they continue along these lines, they'll hurt us in the short term, but they're going to hurt themselves in the long term, because America has a very, very diversified economy. And really what we can do is just simply say, cool, we won't send any food exports out, because America feeds the rest of the world. I mean, we send so much food out. If we just simply said, you know what? We're just going to drop our food prices in the country down to next to nothing. We'll just keep everything in the country, and you guys can starve.
Here's the deal with that. Your president is in bed with Putin, period. And
we need to get rid of him.
He's not going to starve whomever Putin says don't starve, but he will starve his own people. Now, for everything Larry just said, you also got to understand, yes, we have diversification in our private sector, in our stock market, and the businesses we run. But ladies and gentlemen, we make up, as Americans, 3% of the world's population, but we consume 20% of all the world's goods. And of that 20%, a big portion of the pie are all the things that revolve around energy, not just per se putting energy in your car, powering your home, but plastic is made from some of that petroleum. There are other industries that go on that petroleum, and when you stifle the marketplace the way Putin is doing it, yes, they're going to scrape their wrist on the way to punching us in the nuts.
But the thing is, too, is this whole thing with oil, we don't need any other countries for our energy needs. I mean, the reality of it is we are using other countries' resources so that we can preserve our own, because we don't need them. We have enough natural gas. We have enough, raw crude. We have enough sweet crude. We have enough shale. We have enough solar, wind. We have enough energy resources in this country to power our nation in its entirety by itself without any other imports, without bringing anything in. But we use other people's resources so we can preserve our own. Mm-hmm. And basically if other people decided, hey, we're not sending you anything, or we're going to do funky stuff with the market, we could simply just pull out of the energy markets altogether. I mean, it would be devastating in the short term to our stock market and to the energy industry, but eventually we'd recover. I mean, people must remember that we used to be a very isolationist nation, and we could go back to that. I mean, you have Trump and the people that are around him that are very much isolationist. And we could very well just start to say, well, we're going to just isolate ourselves with this industry. And if we did, other countries would be they would be effed entirely. I mean, because when you think about when your entire economy is based off of one particular commodity, and the U.S. is buying 35% of your one commodity, and we just simply say, "Now we're cool." I don't know any economy that could just take a 35% hit and think they're going to survive. I mean, you would have riots in the street. Their government would be overturned in a short period of time. No country could deal with that. Our country couldn't.
My man Tim is out of here, and everybody on this string know Tim. Tim, we wish you well, brother. I know you still working. Be safe. Get that rest, man. Kiss them grandchildren and them nieces and nephews for me while you at it. My folks, CBF BMC, if we do a mail-in election, Trump will be done. It'll be very hard to do voter suppression with mail-in ballots. I 100% agree, which is why they're probably not going to allow Nancy Pelosi to get her way, because anything that you can do to make it easier for people to vote helps Democrats. Anything there, the ratio of registered Democrats to Republicans is almost 2-1. Not quite, but almost 2-1. And anything you do to make it easier for them to vote would definitely be a win for the Democrats. But do you guys see them allowing? I mean, because it could be unprecedented sickness going on. We could have a second round of this pandemic. You have to get the vote in. You have to get the vote in. And do you?
I mean, I could see it being a possibility because most states already have absentee ballots and and early voting. I could see where they just simply say, okay, here's the deal. We're going to send out where it's not going to, they could just simply say it's not going to be something where you have to request an absentee ballot. It could just simply be, we are going to send everyone an absentee ballot, period. That's it. And your vote, you're going to have your voter registration, number on that ballot. And so if you send that ballot in, you simply can't go to the polls. If you do, then you're the first, maybe they'll just say your in-person vote will be priority or something, because there's going to be some old people that fill it out, send it in, and they forget they actually vote in time. You'll have some of that. So they'll just have to figure out when they bring it all up in the system, they can see, okay, here's this the same voted twice, and they'll just have to cancel one of them out. I'm not exactly sure they decided how to do that, but I think it could very easily be that where they just simply say, you no longer have to request an absentee ballot. We're simply sending one out to every citizen registered to vote and you can choose if you want to vote absentee or.
Well, it's definitely going to be interesting, man, to follow how that's because right now the entire election process is just all shambled. Not not speaking on what interference and stuff like that, just because of what's going on now. So it would be really, really interesting to see how this all plays out, and they may if that's possible, I don't see them actually doing it. They'll probably try to block it at every turn. But I'm eager to see what direction that sort of plays out in.
Right.
Yeah, so am I.
Folks,
it's gonna be an interesting political season.
Folks, no matter how sick you are, get out and vote somehow, some way. It will be good for your health if you can. And now we're going to switch gears to something a little bit.
Let me just say this: don't go vote if you're sick.
No. I mean, hey, you remember what Diddy used to say? Diddy said, "Vote or die."
Well, don't vote or kill. Just if you
right.
vote if you need to. If you think you're sick, get that absentee ballot.
And if you have to wrap up in aluminum foil and plastic wrap and poke a hole for your nose, go vote. I don't care. Do it for your children, because getting that man out of office is way better than one or two of us having to be a little sick on the stomach for a day. Go vote.
Right. Now, you know what I would like to see, though? You know what I would like to see? I would like to see that I would like to see there be the ability for people to vote at any polling place in their county, regardless of or any polling place. Yeah, just any polling place in their county, regardless. Because there's been a lot of reports in different areas, especially in Georgia. That was one of the big things. And years ago, I was freelancing. I went down and shot some video in Georgia about people going to, having their polling places switched up, or going to polling places and not actually being on the roll, and then they have to file, and they either have to register. Some people will let you register on the spot. Some places you had to just do a provisional ballot. But when I was out there, and the place they first sent me to actually go, they said, "This is a polling place, go here." They actually closed that polling place. They didn't put any information up there about where people were supposed to go. So even then, I was kind of like, damn, I'm experiencing it. And I wasn't even there to vote. I was just there to cover it. But I think what would help with some of this is that if they just said, if you are in Los Angeles County, you're in, Marin County, you're in whatever county, you can go to any polling place that you want. And it should just simply be that they have a certain amount of ballots for each district. So, because the way they normally do it is you have your district. And so the ballot that I'm going to have, if I'm in Fairfax County, the ballot that I'm going to have is going to be different than the person that may be over in the next city or so over, because they may have a different congressperson. They're going to have a different mayor. They're going to have all the different people that are on those ballots. So they should have a certain amount of ballots, or a way to quickly print out ballots or something, that a person who's going to be in a different area, or even maybe they just say, look, if you're going to a polling place that's outside if you're going to a polling place that's not your normal polling place, maybe you can only vote in the national elections. Maybe you can only vote for president, or maybe you can only vote for statewide races. Like, you can vote for president and you can vote for senator, but you can't vote for your local races. They do something so that people can vote, because sometimes people are like, I don't know where I'm supposed to go. That should not be an issue. If your polling place got mixed up, it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
If you moved and forgot to submit a change of address, that should not be an issue.
Yeah, and that happens all the time. But it somewhat goes to show you, as advanced as we are, our voting and polling situation is a little bit archaic. They should have been come out with online voting and stuff like this. You can go online and fill out like 100 paper applications, depending on what you're trying to fill out for, but they don't have some type of standardized place where you can go and actually do some voting along with security. I don't know if that's the problem why they hadn't done it, but the whole thing is a little bit archaic and needs to be updated regardless.
Well, not only that, but I'm telling you right now, if the Democrats get control again, there are a whole lot of archaic practices that need to be fixed. Number one, voting should be a national holiday. I know big business hate it and all that, but if you're not going to let people vote on the weekend, Tuesday should be a holiday so as many people can participate in the government as possible, since it's their civic duty and all that shit people like to say when it fits their narrative, but not when it comes to voting. Voting should be a national holiday. This electoral college, we got to get rid of it. It's come down to giving us Donald Trump. We've got to get rid of it. That's got to be an agenda too that we got to get fixed. And some of the other barriers that they have put in place, like gerrymandering voting districts, the Democrats need to get in there and fix all that, because there should never be any time that the Democrats turnout is 40 to 60 and we still lose, because we have that many more registered voters that we can actually turn out 40% of our registered voters and still beat their 60% turnout. So Democrats, if you don't want to hire me to be your campaign manager because you're worried I might use the wrong language, what would I say to you? What the hell is in the White House right now? And what the hell do you have to lose?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to switch gears on y'all.
What's up?
We're going to get on some fun topics now. Movies. You remember we reported on God of War, the movie. And you two guys said y'all thought that Dave Bautista would make a good God of War. Well, I just found the news on it today, and I got a story I'm going to drop tomorrow. It has come down to two people, Dave Bautista and Jason Momoa. T-Streams, which one you like best for the God of War?
Well, between those two, Bautista probably favors Kratos a little bit more than the other guy. I just thought we was just shooting the breeze, throwing that out. I didn't know they was actually looking to make something like that.
Oh yeah, they're making the movie, bro. The movie coming out 2022. They've got the script, I got the scoop, and the new video game for PS5 is already in development. I got all the news, bro.
Yeah.
So now, Larry, for you, I already know what you're gonna say, but I'm gonna ask you anyway. Which one you know? Jason Momoa, we know him as Khal Drogo on Game of Thrones, or Dave Bautista, we know him as Drax, the Destroyer.
I think that it's a shame that they didn't even consider any women for this role. And I think maybe they should consider somebody like Scarlett Johansson.
What the fuck? Bro, you joking right now. You're joking. That'd be like us saying they should have cast a man to play Tomb Raider in place of Angelina Jolie.
Yeah, I enjoy Angelina Jolie in the little shorts, so keep that as it is. But no, I think Bautista is my choice for that. I really think I like him for that role. Not that I think Jason Momoa would be bad. I'm just not totally sold yet, and part of that is like when I saw him as Aquaman, and when I saw him as Aquaman. With in that last not his individual movie, but the one with Wonder Woman and Superman, but
Justice League.
Justice League, yeah. I part of me was thinking the Justice League, but part of me was like I couldn't call it the Justice League because it wasn't really the full league. But
Muchella's down there tripping, talking about, I just want to look at his body. Oh my god!
Oh my goodness!
Oh,
I mean. So Jason Momoa, I liked him as Aquaman in the Justice League, but I did not like him in the actual Aquaman movie. And maybe it was just because the Aquaman movie wasn't that good. But part of it is just DC's been putting out DC movies are just garbage compared to Marvel movies, man.
I agree with that. I agree with that. But
the only DC movies that were really on the same level as Marvel movies was Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad was the bomb, man.
Man,
that was fantastic. I love that movie.
Man, no, it was okay. It wasn't better than Aquaman. Stop it.
Man, Aquaman was just okay.
Yeah, it was okay. I agree with you. It was okay. And was better than Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad was when somebody texts you and they put a K with an exclamation mark. That's what Suicide Squad was. K.
Oh.
Somebody don't even want to type the whole thing. Now, when y'all watch my video tomorrow, y'all will understand my point on this. I'm rolling with Jason Momoa as Kratos.
Really?
Everybody's saying that Batista has his build, but Batista really doesn't have Kratos' build. Kratos has an elongated body, thin waist, big chest, which more favors Jason Momoa. And I put a graphic on the screen in the video I'm dropping tomorrow so that you can kind of see the real video game Kratos beside Jason Momoa dressed up as Kratos, beside Dave Bautista dressed up as Kratos. But hell, we basically done seen him as Kratos because Kratos and the guy he played in Guardians of the Galaxy are almost similar in brother. They almost could be twins or something like that.
But maybe bald head and stuff.
Yeah, he got the bald head, but I mean, Jason Momoa can shave his head bald too. I think.
So why don't they just get what's his name then? Why don't they get what's his name? What's his name? Kumail?
Who?
This dude. You see him?
Is he to be Kratos?
Yeah, that dude. He's he's the one that he's just got all yoked up. He used to be on what show did he used to be on? I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. I have to go look him up. But he's all on swole. He's actually, I think he probably couldn't do it because he's all built out now because they actually he's actually going to play a superhero. I think he's going to be part of the Marvel universe.
Okay, Sean Green. I got to agree with Sean Green on this. Sean Green said Man of Steel and Dark Knight are the great. Oh, whoa, I didn't see that part. What the fuck? Sean, I'm not putting you on the main screen no more. Come on, Joe out and say Man of Steel and Dark Knight are the great. You know what I thought he was saying? I thought he was saying that Man of Steel and Dark Knight are two of DC's greatest comic book movies. Not that he was going to say greatest movies of all time. Oh my God, Sean. What you sipping on tonight, brother? What's in your cup? Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy.
Buzz 703 says Suicide Squad Blue Chunks. Come on, man.
Exactly.
That was awesome.
Thank you, Buzz.
Come on, man.
Suicide Squad was okay.
Has to have my back.
It was just okay, man. It was K, like I said, with an exclamation mark. Not okay, it was just K. Man of Steel was better than Suicide Squad.
Man of Steel?
Man of Steel.
Come on, man.
And here's the thing. I hate the guy they got playing Superman. I think he's a cornball. I'm not a fan of Henry Cavill. Well, let me take that back. He's grown on me since he was just in The Witcher. So I'm going to take that back a little bit. But I really haven't been.
I liked him better in The Witcher than I did in Superman. You know who they should have playing Superman is they should bring in what's his name? Dude that played Killmonger.
Oh, you know
Michael B. Jordan. They should bring him in as Superman.
They tried to cast him as Dark Zod, which was the black Superman. And I did a video on that. And would you believe I had threats on my life because ain't no nigger gonna play Superman. And these dudes didn't even know that in the DC comics, they have a black Superman.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Is I had people upset with me back, and this was back a couple years, because when Wonder Woman came out, and people got upset when I was posting pictures of Black Wonder Woman. They were like, Wonder Woman is not black, yada yada yada. And I was like, well, first of all, you should know Wonder Woman's older sister is actually black. I
Right.
was like, Wonder Woman's mom basically formed them, or they were formed out of clay. One was dark clay, one was light clay, and that's how they were made. And I was like, and one's black and one's white, but you guys just hating.
Here we go. My man Sean Green that I said I would never put back on the screen. I'll put him back. Right, we should have got a Man of Steel trilogy. And you know what? I'm with that, Sean. I'm with that. Man of Steel wasn't that bad. Man of Steel was okay. But I agree they should have done a couple of more movies. And they're actually trying to do a few more movies, but they're kind of in a thing with Henry Cavill right now. They're kind of having a thing. So
let him go then. Let him go. You know what movie I want to see? I want to see Gambit.
Damn it, you ain't. They done scrapped it.
They scrapped it?
They scrapped it, man. Because they was gonna have what's that model? He used to be a Vegas dancer, and then he became an actor. I can't think of the boy name.
Channing Tatum?
Channing Tatum was supposed to be Gambit.
Really?
Yep. And they had all the money and everything put aside, and they had budgeted for it. But then Marvel came in and bought the properties from Sony. Not Sony, bought the properties, and so Marvel said we're scrapping Gambit.
Wow. You know who should have played? They shouldn't have cast him. What's his name? Should have been in there. Dude that used to be married to Demi Moore. What's the young buck's name? You know what I'm talking
about? I can't. Was it Josh?
Oh man.
Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah, Ashton Kutcher. He should do it.
Oh yeah. Now,
I mean, he would make a good kid because Gambit's supposed to be kind of a Southern dude. He's supposed to be tall, good looking. He's supposed to be funny. I mean, I think that. I mean, he's a wise ass. I think that would be a good role for him.
Now, Shrink and Sharon asked, "Did we talk about Tiger King?" Shrink and Sharon, we talked about Tiger King for a whole week, and as a matter of fact, we're going to bring him up right now since you brought him up. If we had to, because they're going to look, they've already announced they're going to make a Tiger King movie.
Never.
Yes, they said it. So who is going to play Tiger King? You know who my number one draft pick would be? Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton. Yep. Who you guys want to see play Tiger King?
I don't want to see nobody play him.
I think David Spade should play him.
Oh, Muchella says she want to see Jim Carrey play him.
Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
No, let me show you right here.
Oh boy, here we go.
Right there, David Spade should play him.
Okay, yeah. Give him the job. He can have $3 million. David Spade, you got that job, brother. You can be Tiger King all you want to.
Man, so man, you see how that thing just sort of blew up, and now they're talking about making a movie out of that mess. Yeah, give me for calling him garbage. God,
look, they even called him in prison. They called him in prison yesterday to interview him. He gave his first prison interview since it dropped, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "Man, I wish I was out of prison so that I could take advantage of all the fame that's going on right now."
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not mad at him. I mean, if you're trying to make some money, you have to be out there where you can make it.
Miss Chris, the sis, says it's y'all fault they making movie. Y'all talking about him too much. Hey, Miss Chris, if you can't beat him, join him. If everybody else gonna get paid for talking about him, damn sure this channel is too.
Yeah.
Tell me that's not Tiger King right there.
That's Tiger King, baby.
That's Tiger King right there.
That's Tiger King. That's Tiger King 1982.
Woo.
Yeah, he'd probably make a good one.
Yeah. Now let's move on to some other entertainment news. T-Streams. What's the latest and greatest going on in the streaming world in terms of devices, technology? Tell us something good about the streaming world.
All right, man. Well, let's see here.
I got a couple for you when you're done.
Boy.
They have the new modified NVIDIA Shield. It's a little bit lower than the box set that comes in a little tube. Man, I just picked one of them up not too long ago just to sort of see how it works. I'm sort of biased on devices, man. I get my Shields. We sell a few different kind of devices outside of our store, but I'm stuck on the Shields, and just started playing with the Apple TV yesterday. And so, man, I'm like really biased on really what folk is using. I know folks are, toying with the Fire Sticks, and they're using a lot of different devices. If I can give you tips, stay the hell away from them cheap Chinese boxes. I think you got a better chance investing on the front end. Just get you a nice box on the. What is that? An MXQ Pro? What's that?
Yeah, MX10 Pro.
Okay.
Right. Since you were talking about Chinese boxes and all.
Yeah. I think my first box was an MS8. Some dude had overcharged me back in 2015, like $150 for that little thing. But I swear I loved it when I first got it. And so, but now I look back on him like that old chump overcharged me for that.
Yeah, man. He got you good.
Yeah. $8 box. But yeah, I'm honestly biased. A lot of people think that having the Shield is overkill, but if you're using stuff like like these third-party apps and stuff like that, you save yourself a big headache just getting you something nice in the beginning. I swear you do.
Yeah. Larry, what you got for us?
So I got a couple of things. I'm gonna probably make some videos on them this weekend. But the first thing is YouTube. YouTube has lowered the resolution on all videos to 480.
Yep.
So if you turn on YouTube on your TV, it doesn't matter if you're watching in HD or 4K or on a computer screen, a phone, a tablet, does not matter. Your default resolution is now going to be 480 during this whole pandemic thing because they're trying to manage bandwidth. Now you can still bump it up. So like if you are at 480, you can always go into the settings and just push it up to 4K, but you have to actually do it manually because it's going to default to 480. So that's just something that I think people should realize. So if you're watching a video and you think like, Jay, it looks a little janky today. What's up with your video? It may be nothing wrong with the video. It's just that you're looking at it at a lower resolution now. So
yeah, Netflix is doing that as well, and I hear Disney Plus is getting ready to do the same thing.
Yeah.
So and a lot of that is due to everybody being inside, and the mass amount of bandwidth that's coming out with because now everybody is sitting there watching something, or I've heard that it's went up to about at some points up to about 60-70%, and that peak times, which normally is like around 7-8 p.m. is now as early as 10:30, 11 p.m. And so it's a lot of bandwidth being used, and a lot of services are changing those channels, dropping the resolution to SD and stuff like that, so that folks can, that stress can be able to distribute. And so, yeah.
So I wonder what Netflix is going to do about if they're talking about dropping the default resolution. I wonder what they're going to do about pricing, because Netflix has a different tier for their regular HD versus 4K. So if you want your stuff in 4K, it's a couple dollars more a month. So if they're going to give you the default, I wonder if they're going to drop that price for a while.
Well, here's a question for you guys that some people have asked me before. Which is better to stream in? You know how your Wi-Fi has a 5G, and then it has a 2.5 gigahertz. You've got a 5 gigahertz, 2.5 gigahertz. For streaming, which one is better, or are they both the same? Either one of you guys can take the floor.
Well, I think it depends on on what kind of device you have, because all devices don't support 5G.
Right.
So, and your network plays a part as well. Okay. So, like in my home, like I have Xfinity throughout my home, as well as our commercial places, and I have these. I have the pods as well, sort of scattered around, just to sort of make sure that my signal strength is good. And I always use 5G. You know, like the saying goes, you can use 5G if you're closer to your router, but if you're a little bit further in the house, or not central to your router, to use the 2.4.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have those hotspots or those pods or something, then you're able to tap into the. I like my 5G, and it's sort of odd, because we do a whole lot of streaming, a whole lot, and I don't have the issues that a lot of people have. I can sit here and watch 4K. I can watch a 4K stream either on my stuff, or either on TV Zion, or whatever, and never have no issue, no lag, no anything. And but I always use 5G.
Okay.
So I'll say this: there's a couple of things people should pay attention to. One, obviously, if you're in a large building, for instance, like I live in a condominium complex where I have a lot of networks around me at all times. There are always a lot of networks. And the 2.4 gigahertz bandwidth is always congested. So you're usually always going to get better speeds on the 5 gigahertz bandwidth. So if you're in a situation like I am, I would just say go with the 5 gig, with the 5 gigahertz bandwidth. And if you're not, if you're in an area, if you live, say, on a nice block with where you have good separation between the houses, so there's not a whole bunch of different networks around, then you can go with the 2.4, because it is supposed to carry a little bit further. So if you don't have the signal relays like Taylor was talking about, spread throughout your house, the 2.4 may work a little bit better. So if you have your router downstairs next to the TV, or in the computer room, and you're upstairs in your bedroom or something, or in your office, you may get a little bit better signal on the 2.4. But for people like me who live around a bunch of people, the 5 gigahertz is usually going to be what's best. But here is another thing, and I've told this people time and time and time again, and I will reiterate this: do not cheap out on your internet. Do not cheap out on yourself when it comes to your internet speeds. So if you go and you were Comcast, or you were with Cox or Verizon or whatever, and they say it's $40 a month to get you 25 megabits down, and it's $40 to get 25 megabits down, but it's 25 to get like 300. Spend the extra $300. I mean, the extra $5 to get the extra, to get that 300 megabits down. Because I've heard so many people say, I get all this buffering. I'm like, well, what kind of speeds are you getting? Oh, well, I'm supposed to get 25 megabits down. Yeah, we're supposed to, but if you do a speed test, you probably are getting 10, 15 megabits down. And if you're trying to stream something in HD at 10 megabits, I mean, you're going to have all kinds of issues, So, but if you spend just a little bit more money, and you're already cutting the cord, so you're saving money. So if you spend just a little bit more to get the faster internet, so you have 150, 200, 300 megabits down, you can stream 4K from some janky website, and you're still going to have a good experience,
Yeah. Can I leave a tip? you know, I'm going to assume that at least a small percentage, you know, you look at stuff like Cinema or TV Zion or something like that. You guys, if you know, having access to www.downdetector.com is really it's a good asset to have, especially right now. Because you're able to go there and check on a lot of things, not only for your ISP providers, but you can actually check on different services that you have. So if you have Disney Plus, if you're running, you know, if you're running Twitch, or if you're running, you know, whatever you're running, there's probably about 60, 70 different things, if not more, that you can actually check on to see if there is actually any issue currently going on due to the congestion of the internet right now. And so I would highly suggest you guys sort of just keep that in mind, especially if you start seeing issues with your streaming, realizing that at about 10:30, 11 a.m. is about the peak time now, average, whereas it used to be a little bit later. Now, also, you can have your ISP release the restrictions on your accounts temporarily right now. But first, they will not do it. They will not do it voluntarily. You have to call. All right. So, and this will be at no additional cost to your bill. So, for example, Xfinity will throttle you if you use over 1,024 gigs of data per month. All right. A simple phone call probably won't take nothing but a few minutes. Once you can actually get through, they will release that and open your network or your bandwidth up that would release the throttling, but only if you contact them. You have to call. You can't do it through online or anything. So those are just some tips, especially while you're streaming, because I know a lot of people is at the house with nothing else to do but eat and watch TV.
And some of you too, that if you have slow internet, you can use your phone to stream your stuff. You can either cast it if you have a Chromecast enabled device, or you can AirPlay it. And almost all of the cellular services right now are offering unlimited data. So if you have Verizon or AT&T or T-Mobile, or even a lot of the other ones like Boost and Mint Mobile, all of them are offering free unlimited data. So if you think, well, I can't do that because I only have 3 gigs or 5 gigs of data every month, you don't have to worry about that. You can, like with some of them do it differently. Like as far as I know, like T-Mobile, for instance, I think they just removed all caps. You can just go ham and do whatever you want to do. But like Mint Mobile, if whatever your plan is, after you hit that plan cap, you have to go onto the website and then add an add-on for more data, and then your data will be refilled. So if you have 3 gigs, you go back on, you add a 3 gig data refill, and then you're good to go. And you just have to keep doing that every time you run out of data on something like Mint Mobile. But the other ones, as far as I know, you just use it how you want to use it, and you're good to go. So check with your carrier first to make sure that your plan, make sure it's the way it is. I don't want anybody to just run out and blow out their bill or their data all of a sudden. So check with your carrier first, but it's all of them are doing that right now.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we have to part ways. We hope we've been able to entertain you, take your mind in and out of COVID-19, as a lot of us are hurting because we can't be around people we want to be around, because we can't go do things that we would normally do. But ladies and gentlemen, staying shut in for now is the best way to go for the overall health and healing of our communities, to get us back mobile and moving. I'm going to let Larry and T-Strings give you guys the last word, and I'm going to get us out of here tonight. Larry, you go first.
All right, everyone. Well, make sure that you guys are staying safe, stay healthy. And this is something that I would like to say. If you are a driver out there, and you see people walking in the streets, Normally, you would probably honk your horn at them or something. But in these times where people are trying to maintain some level of social distance, give them some leeway. If there's a second lane you can get into, just get over. Because I know when I go out for a walk, I see these people, I'm walking in the street because there's people on the sidewalk, and so I'm trying to avoid them, and people in the street are coming at me, and I'm like, there's a whole other lane, just get over. You know, I know you see me, just get over. I mean, we all have to do our part. And so that's my bit. Normally I like to say something funny, so I will just, but this time, in all seriousness, I don't want people having to walk close to each other just because they're trying to get some fresh air and exercise. So in this time, when you have the opportunity to get over, if you're a driver, give a little distance, a little leeway to pedestrians. It's going to go back to normal. We're not going to walk in the streets forever, but my 2 cents, you know.
All right. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. All right. And the only thing I'd like to add to that, you know, safety always first. I know right now things can be a little bit down, somewhat depressing because we're literally locked in. Some of you guys are without jobs and things like that, but continue to hold on, stand firm. Okay, we've dropped some jewels and gave you some good tips. Those of you who are business owners, the SBA has their little thing going. If you have not applied for unemployment, you can file for unemployment relief while you're going through this. And I would also say there's a lot of things that that you can do supplemental on online that's not scams or fraud. If you just need to try to help ends meet. And so what I'm seeing right now is a spike in anxiety because folks is really not knowing what to do right now because they're off for work. The first 2 or 3 days was tolerable. You get it. You understand that we're off. But now when they're talking about months, months off don't pay the bills. It creates stress. Be tolerable and tolerant with your spouse, your significant others, your kids, because everyone is up under this stress right now. And so now with everyone being grouped together in the home, you really get to see the inner workings of how you guys mesh together. So keep avenues of communication open. Try not to let the events of the world creep into the household where it disrupts those type of things. So mental health, stay on top of that because it can't, if you let it, this situation right here can drag you down. So stay focused. Continue to chime in to Lamont Page. This man is doing a good job. We dropping some jewels, and that's all I have.
One more thing, Lamont. Since T was bringing up people their levels of anxiety going up, masturbation relieves stress.
Here we go.
So rub one out. I'm just saying, rub one out. Feel a little bit better. Feel a little bit more relaxed. Your family will appreciate the fact that you are not on edge.
Yeah. Go
That's
get
my 2 cents. Or 5 cents.
Ladies and
or 10 cents, however you do it.
How in the hell am I supposed to come behind that? And I mean, do literally come behind that. All I'm going to say is whatever you can do to relieve your anxiety and stress in a way that's conducive for you, it doesn't harm anyone else, it doesn't harm your family, do those things. Take a walk around the house for some fresh air. Stay out of people's 6-foot space and do something to recreate magic amongst your own home. Take this opportunity, and I know this is going to sound like some tough advice, but this will pass, ladies and gentlemen. It seems rough because you're in the eye of the storm right now. It will pass. Take time to start planning what it is you want to accomplish through the rest of this year. Make a 1-year plan for what you want to get done next year, and ultimately sit down and look at those plans and see how they relate to where you want to be 5 years from now. And that's your life game for the day for me. Fellas, y'all want to make this happen Monday night again?
I'm with you.
Yeah, let's do this.
Well, y'all heard it here first. We'll be back Monday night at 9. That's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like it, share it, check out T-Streams. on his Facebook page. Check out my man Larry on his YouTube. And until that next Sexy as Hell video, we'll see you.
Peace.
We out of there.